Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, a former award-winning stockbroker, television producer, scriptwriter, yoga instructor, and now founder of the Epic Vision Zone. Each week, we offer you an inspiring person or message to bring you closer to your big dream by showing you how to enter the portal to your new reality, where possibilities, prosperity, potential, and your epic life reign. Albert Einstein famously said, "Creativity is intelligence having fun," while Ursula Le Guin said, "The creative adult is the child who survived." Innovation coach Ellia Harris is CEO of the Potential Center. She believes that solving problems with creativity is the most effective way to address business, social, and global issues. Her mission is to simplify the creative problem-solving and innovation process by making inspiration more consistent and accessible so big changes occur with ease and grace. She is a contributing author to the book Winner's Mindset: Peak Performance Strategies for Success that show how creating a winner's mindset starts from within ourselves first. For over 10 years, she has been a global organization development consultant, coaching and training leaders and teams, facilitating strategic planning, and speaking at conferences. Elia's trademark light bulb moment is a creative training method that shows clients how to blast through their goals, gain exceptional leadership, ignite ideas, and enrich the world life experience by inspiring greater confidence, team engagement, and fun. As Aaliyah puts it, it's all about spreading your creative wings and helping your team do the same. Her coaching program consists of her exclusive light bulb thinking framework, which she says is the foundation to cultivating creativity, curiosity, a growth mindset, and so much more. Using creative thinking and implementing imaginative solutions, Aaliyah's training and coaching is helping clients to not only prepare for the future challenges, but to excel in the 21st century. Welcome, Aaliyah. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am really excited to get deep into this particular topic, which is a passion of mine, as you know. And so we'll start at the beginning. What was it that inspired your passion and purpose to do the work that you do today?
Well, like a lot of things, there wasn't a straight line from what can I do to doing it. So I I had a few stops along the way. Um, I started off as a marketing wonk, having had my degree in secondary education. And at the time, I didn't feel like education was the right path for me. So I went into marketing. At some point, that didn't feel right. So I went into the nonprofit sector, and that was much more comfortable. I started working my way up the ladder and came to the point where I was in senior leadership roles. And there was always something niggling at me, like there has to be a better way to do all this. I went onto a leadership training course, which reaffirmed that my leadership abilities were really good. Um, but it was really lacking in the area of how do you actually solve problems. So that got me interested in creative problem solving. And I started training myself, reading the books and doing courses and finding out more about that. And I'm still learning to this day. I'm a lifelong student in this. And so what got me into it was I started to apply what I was learning with my teams. And we were getting some really fantastic results. And I thought, actually, this can't be a mistake. We're doing this time and time again. We're blasting through our targets. We're coming up with amazing ideas to get donors involved in supporting our mission. So I came to the conclusion, actually, that helping your team to be more creative in solving problems is the fastest way to become a manager of a high performing team and hopefully solve some major problems in the process.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. I mean, when we work together and share our ideas and our thoughts, it just elevates everyone. And I love the fact that your path, like mine, has been choppy. It's we didn't take a straight path from one industry or sector to another. It sort of weaves its way, and we find things, and I think that's what makes us the person that we are. But also, like you said, it's something that curiosity has to do with. Like you said, you were curious about how to solve problems, and that's what led you onto your path. So we'll delve a little more into that, but thank you for sharing that information, because I just love to point out to people that it's don't get frustrated, because we all have our turns and our ups and our downs, and that's part of what makes us and gives us the experience to share with others in the future. So, speaking of doing things differently, tell us, how do you describe creativity?
So for me, creativity is a process. It's something that can be applied to lots of different things, even to how you dress. I have an eye for, I like different designs. This one's, it's not exactly straightforward plaid. There can be creativity. Some people love cooking and they're creative in the way that they cook. So it's a process that can be applied to lots of different things, and it's perfect for innovation. At the same time, you don't want to apply it to things like piloting a plane, because for that, you really do need a precise process.
Yes, I never thought of that. That creativity is a process that, even in the kitchen, because I do like to cook, I'll have the recipe, but then I'll throw in a little of this, a little of that, or take something out and put something back in. And yes, absolutely. That's when you look at it that way. I believe a lot of us are being creative during the day. We just don't realize that that's what we're implementing. That's
Exactly.
that's
Sometimes, I'm sorry, I was just going to say, sometimes I talk about the myths around creativity, and that's that you've just hit on one. People think, oh, I'm not creative, I'm not an artist, but yes, look at the ways that you are creative in your day.
Absolutely. The way you dress, women with our makeup, we can be
Hmm.
creative with our shoes, with our the cars, if we do, with our home decor. Absolutely. I think most of us are creative. We just don't realize that we are. So that's a really
Yeah.
good way to break the ice. I find if you're speaking to a group of people and they're all just on pins and needles about creativity, that's terrific. Well, creativity and innovation. How are creativity and innovation related?
So, creativity, as I mentioned, is a process, and innovation is kind of a step along the way of getting from nothing to something. And I also like to talk about the process. There are different steps for getting to innovation. Before you get to innovation, you have different iterations, and iterations are easy to come by. You just make something better. It's all about continuous improvement. Innovation is a bigger step to get to, from nothing, or from an iteration, and that's where the brain starts to get stuck in. But one of the things I find fascinating about creativity is just how much the brain influences what you do in creative thinking. Because if you took the brain out of it and just led us to our own devices, we would be able to get from no idea to an innovation fairly easily. The problem with the brain is it likes certainty. It
Mm.
likes knowing what's going to happen. It likes keeping us safe. And so, what it looks for is data, and it sorts data, and it keeps putting those data into the same buckets. So you're getting habitual thinking that way. The problem with thinking creatively is to the brain, that signals that there's change. And the brain does not like change because it's not safe. It's opening us to fight, flight, or freeze behavior. So we have to actually trick the brain into saying, it's okay. It's kind of like taking a child by the hand and saying, it's okay, brain. We can do this, and you might feel uncomfortable, but trust me, we'll be good.
That is so wonderful. That information, it's what a great insight into why we shy away from creativity. Because you're absolutely right. We are habitual individuals. I mean, that's the human nature, is to keep us safe. It goes way back to our reptilian brain. So yes, we have to be aware of that and say, no, everything's going to be fine. We're just going to try something a little different here. But I'm really curious. We'll get into that a little later, but how you trick the brain to do that, because you're absolutely right. So whether you're an organization or an entrepreneur, tell us why creativity is vital for personal and professional growth, especially in the 21st century.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking for a statistic that I wanted to mention. And so basically, the reason is that change is coming our way faster than ever. And as we know from COVID, it can really throw us for a loop. So when you're more able to cope with change, then you'll be more resilient. You'll be able to pivot more. That's the thing I like about creative thinking is it puts your brain into training for those opportunities so that you can pivot really quickly. Um, Here's the statistic I was looking for. Um, this is a survey from IBM, and it says that 4 out of 5 CEOs rated innovation as a crucial capability because it enables them to shift quickly in response to external events. And I talk about an innovation mindset a lot, especially with leaders. Managers are the people often who are leading creative thinking exercises like brainstorming and just encouraging their staff to think differently. So it's really about getting them in the mindset to be the role model for other people to also have this innovation mindset. And the tricky part is balancing the enthusiasm and the creativity and the excitement of coming up with ideas with risk, because with innovation comes risk. And so there are ways of managing that, and I can talk about that another time.
Yes, yeah. Well, I could see, because we are in very unprecedented and unpredictable times. And as you and I earlier discussed, I don't see that changing. I think our future is going to be much more unpredictable than it ever has been in the past. Like my
I
parents, for
agree.
example, your parents, you could hold a job for your entire lifespan and have and retire and have a pension, and that was pretty much the norm. Nowadays, it's the young people, especially, you're lucky if they stay with you for a year or two and then they're gone. And
Yeah.
that's not abnormal these days. In the old days, that would be, people would look at your resume and go, well, there must be something wrong with you because you don't like anywhere you're working, or they don't like you, whatever.
Right.
but
Right.
but now
And
it's
that's
the norm.
actually one
So
of the reasons. Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
that's one of the reasons why I do this work, because it is down to younger generations that are going to have to deal with some of the heavier changes that we're already seeing, in terms of the climate, global warming. This has been around for years, it's nothing new. But it's future generations that are going to be leading us out of these
Mhm.
problems. And we're not taught how to solve problems creatively in school for the most part. If you're lucky and you went to a really innovative school, then you would have had that opportunity. But I think we have a responsibility. And, the fact that younger people may move from job to job a year after a year is an indication that they're not being given the opportunity to think creatively where they are. So this is why I drill these messages into leaders' minds that you're part of the reason why people want to stay. If you can give them an incentive to think more creatively, they're going to have more fun, they're going to be more motivated, and they'll be more likely to stay.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes. So tell us about the Potential Center. Give us an overview of some of the results that you can offer through the Potential Center.
So it's different for everybody. And the reason being that it all comes down to how much you're going to apply what you learn, how serious you are about wanting to make change. So I can talk about the potential benefits, but I cannot guarantee that everybody is going to have the same benefits as everybody else because it really will depend on how you apply things. So, as far as being a creative company, some of the benefits that you can experience from learning about light bulb thinking or creative problem solving skills is that you'll have increased revenue and a greater share of the market. You'll hopefully have better employee engagement, which also means better retention, as I was just saying. Managers would find it easier to delegate to their staff because they will be open to taking on challenges without having somebody tell them how to go about doing it. You'll be able to come up with creative solutions to some of the biggest challenges that we're facing in our world today. And yours may only be a small part of that challenge, but you're contributing to the solution. And you'll be the envy of others, either in your organization or in your sector. And people want to know how you achieve these things. And your team can also experience benefits. They would hopefully be hitting target with more ease. They'd have greater ability to take on the challenges that you delegate. They'll feel more motivated and involved. And there will be a culture of know, like, and trust rather than fight, defend, and ignore. And solving problems together actually is a really good way of holding teams together and building a stronger, happier group of people to work together.
You're hired.
Yes.
I love that. A culture of know, like, and trust. That is brilliant. I mean, words really are powerful, and that really, really hit home for me. Know, like, and trust, because that is key to having a team that not just follows you, but that collaborates with you. Because that's, I think, what a lot of the hierarchy of the old leadership was more like, where it's I'm the leader, do what I say and follow me, as opposed to a collaboration. Let's get together, brainstorm. And that's why I love this topic, because I've always, and women I think more than men, and I could be mistaken, but I feel that women have that they are more open to collaboration a lot of the
I
times.
agree.
And it could very well be, that's why we're forging forward in the entrepreneurial realm. I mean, there's many more women who are branching out into all kinds of new ventures these days than men. And I think it's fantastic. But yes, that was terrific. Though all those benefits that will come to an individual or a corporation with the process of creativity. So given that, why are you, and you answered this a little bit, but why are you so passionate about helping managers facilitate creative problem solving with their teams?
Um, because I went through the same issues that a lot of new managers do. And I particularly aim the work that I do at new managers because, when I became a manager, I wasn't handed a manual for how to be a manager. I had to figure it out on my own. Yes, I did go on a leadership training course, but that was after several years of being a manager. So because we need to make change so quickly, if
Mhm.
I can contribute to helping a manager turn their team into a well-oiled machine faster than other people can, then I want to be able to do that because that's my way of making a contribution to a better world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, as we've discussed earlier, it's not easy to get our arms around creative thinking and problem
Mm.
solving. So, how do you go about teaching these skills?
So, what I do is because I have so much experience in leadership training, training other leaders, not just having had that training myself, but I've been doing this over 10 years. And I've also been training in creative problem solving during that time. So I marry the two because it's so important for a manager to be able to lead well in order to get results with their team in creative problem solving. So, in that sense, I think I'm unique. From what I've seen, many organization development consultants will train either in leadership skills or very many fewer of them will do training in creative problem solving and innovation. And I marry the two so that managers can see not just how important it is, but what the potential is for incorporating both of those skills. And once they've got those skills, they're very reliant on each other. Then basically, there's nothing holding them back or their team.
Right. So, your passion really, for me, I feel that it lies in assisting others to see the value in what creativity brings to the table, not just in a team, but in a leadership position as well, because it all filters down from the top,
Yeah,
and I think when that well-oiled machine then starts to click, it's almost like you've created a machine that's working. I mean, if
yeah,
I'm looking at it from a creative point of view, it's like all those pieces are fitting together now, and look what we've made. And
yeah,
you can think of that as like a Lego, but also you can think of it as in ideas that come together, and then everything fits and it works. Yeah, I
yeah,
could.
yeah,
And I could see where that would just light you up and light up the people that you work with, because
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
excitement of finding the solution. Go ahead.
Exactly. And, along with that, as we were saying earlier, we have no idea what's coming our way. The things are changing faster than ever, but we can be better prepared for
Mhm.
when that change does come. I mean, I think we learned so much from having gone through COVID, good and bad, and we can apply those lessons to, how can we be fast-footed about what comes down the pike later on.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I agree 100%. So you touched very briefly on creativity and resilience. So how does
Mhm.
creativity actually help us become more resilient in facing the future?
One way is if you look at the way people train, and I'm thinking now sports people, the repetition of doing one thing after another. I watch a lot of European soccer, they call it football, and the announcers are always talking about, they practice this in their training, and the idea is, you do it time and time again, and that means that you can apply it as soon as the opportunity comes up. So
Mm,
if you have a mental state of being agile in terms of making decisions, then it's much easier to be prepared for what does happen. So I like to say it's better to learn about creative problem solving techniques when you don't have a problem because you want to be ready for when the stuff does hit the fan to just be able to respond like that.
Right, to turn it on, so to speak.
Yeah,
But you're right, the agility, and the ability to, it's the knowledge that you have. If you have that library, in your brain, you've got this library of information and resources that you've learned and you've heard and you've been trained, and it's when the time comes, you can access that. But you want to do it prior to, because otherwise then it's like when COVID hit, we're all scrambling and trying to figure out what the
yeah,
best method is or what the best process is. So
yeah,
absolutely, it's preparedness, and that's what makes you resilient, because you have that, you've got that resource to go to, or that knowledge, or that training. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely, I could
yeah,
see where that is very vital.
yeah.
So what is the biggest opposing force that you find with suggesting or coaching creativity in the workplace, and what is your solution to that?
Um, I think one of the biggest, and I can't say for definite this is the top one, but one of the biggest ones is that people can be reticent about throwing an idea onto the table because they don't want to look silly or stupid. And especially in teams or when people aren't working together so well, like they don't want to put themselves in a vulnerable position. And I get that because, we've all made a suggestion and it's like somebody said, oh, that's a stupid idea. So the way to get around that is for the manager to set the scene. So basically, having ground rules. And these ground rules would be stated at the beginning of a brainstorming session. And it would be things like every idea is valid. We are not judging anything at this point. Everybody has an equal voice, including me as your manager. My voice is no more important than anybody else's. And if we're inviting people like the receptionist or somebody from the mailroom, if they still exist, their voice is just as equal as anybody else's. So the way to do that is set ground rules. Another way to bust through that is for the manager to set the scene, to be the role model and be stupid and crazy and encourage laughing. And one of the things I like about laughing is it's a great tension reducer. So if you can get people laughing, and managers, if you can be comfortable with being the butt of a joke and put yourself in the hot seat for people to laugh at, you will actually be contributing a lot to the creative process.
Hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Laughing, and that's the whole fun part, the play part. Especially
Yeah,
because if we're in a corporate environment, it's like, well, you're not supposed to have fun at work, but why not? Because the fun is what,
exactly.
it's the creativity. I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if you came home from work and said, wow, I had so much fun at work? They go, well, what kind of job do you have? I want it. But absolutely, yes, that I could see where that would be a huge icebreaker. And you're right, inviting those that you don't expect, that they wouldn't expect to be invited. The receptionists, they never get a chance to, be a part of the team, even though they are a big part of it and a very important part of it. They're the first face of the corporation or the organization or the team. So yes,
Yeah,
that is a fabulous way to step into it. And I could see where the resistance at first, like you said, people don't want to appear uh, as though they're making a mistake, or they're stepping out of that comfort zone and people are looking at them saying you must be crazy. But you just have to go for it. Yeah, absolutely, that was terrific. I'm joining whatever team that is, where we can have some fun and play and laugh. Absolutely. Is there a creative thinking tool then, or one or two, that you could give us right now?
yeah, yeah. There's one that's so easy. You can do it almost anywhere. It's called random objects. And so what you do is you come up with a problem. Like my problem might be, how do I get a bigger market share? And then you look around, it could be just at your desk or in your room, and you pick something up. And so, like, I've picked up this stapler. Let me get it in front of the camera so you can see it. Nice, bright pink stapler. And I say, how is this stapler like my problem? And I can actually animate the stapler and go, it's the competitors snapping at my heels. So the metaphor is, or the outcome from that might be, how can I better keep my competitors away from nipping at my heels? Or what does this actually mean for better defining the problem?
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's something
yeah.
that could really get people laughing.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
great at the start of a team meeting, not necessarily a brainstorming meeting, but if you want to loosen up the room, especially if you're going to be talking about a particular problem, then you can use that exercise, tell people to come with something unusual, from their office, and then set up this exercise for them. Everybody's going to come up with a different answer, but you might actually get some really important clues in there for the nature of the problem before you start that discussion.
yes. And what it does is it breaks the ice for a discussion,
Yes.
as opposed to I'm up here making a presentation and just speaking to you and you're listening, whereas this becomes a group participation.
Yeah.
So much fun. I love that idea. Why brainstorming works. Give us some examples of your go to brainstorming techniques and why it works to inspire creativity.
Sure. One that I like, there are so many brainstorming exercises out there, and one company put them into four different pots and named those pots. And one of those pots is called re-expression. And uh, in terms of tricking your brain to think differently, then this is a really good way of doing it. So instead of talking about something, you would express the problem or the situation in a different way. So you could draw it. So what does that look like without using words? You could act it out. You could write a song about it. This gets people really involved, and it works because it literally gets your box out of that. It gets your brain out of that box of a particular thinking habit. So what I was saying earlier about taking the brain by the hand and leading it to do things differently. Another technique is the one I just showed you. Random objects is based on creating a metaphor. And metaphors work because the brain loves to solve puzzles. So if you ask it a question like, why is this stapler like my problem? The brain just wants to answer it. And so that's the beauty of why metaphors work.
Hmm. I love that. I read something on metaphors and creativity, but asking someone why a stapler will help me solve the problem, that would just throw people for a loop. I love it. I was just like, that's hysterical, but I want an answer.
Yes.
That that's great. I love it. Excuse me. Well, thank you for sharing those. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to. And we're moving right into this, by the way. You have a free brainstorming blueprint masterclass on January 25th that you're offering. So tell us, our audience, about that and where we can get the information.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Jane. It is on the 25th. It's at noon Pacific time. It's going to be about 45 minutes in length, and that includes time for questions. The information is at thepotentialcenter.com. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to be covered. So first of all, you will, of course, be learning a process for brainstorming that you can easily implement. I'm hoping that you'll feel more confident as a result of attending this masterclass in terms of facilitating brainstorming sessions, because you'll have a clearer idea of what your role as the facilitator is. I'm going to show people two brainstorming tools that they can try right there in the masterclass. So they'll be able to take them away and apply those. And also, as we were just talking about, have a better understanding of what helps people feel safe about contributing ideas.
Well, I personally can't wait to join the class. And as we spoke earlier, Aaliyah and I, we mentioned that if your calendar doesn't permit, be sure to sign up anyway, because there will be a recording. Correct, Aaliyah?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. So, don't be shy. I think it's going to be fabulous. And all that information, by the way, will be available on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages as well. So, light bulb, thank you, Aaliyah, for that information. And the light bulb moments, what does the program include?
Yeah. So, Light Bulb Moments is a podcast style course, and it's a series of 6 modules that contain a varying number of classes. And the classes are only, they're no more than 20 minutes. Some of them are only 5 minutes. And I designed it that way because managers are busy, especially new managers. They're trying to cover so many things. And it just didn't make sense to me to do another video course where people are tied to a screen. I wanted people to be able to go out and be stimulated while they're hearing these classes, to get more bang for their time to be able to do things. So that's why I made it podcast style. And on top of that, there's a workbook that contains the key principles from the program and provides exercises so that whoever takes this course, they can apply their learning. Another thing that's included in the program is a 30-minute coaching session with me. And that's within the first 3 months of them buying the program. So I can help guide them in terms of, where do they need to focus first. As I said, there are 6 different modules, and they cover different things like teams and leadership principles and brainstorming exercises. So what's the best place for them to start? They also receive a free copy of the Brainstorming Playbook, which is normally not available for free. And because this course is in beta for a limited amount of time, there's 50% off of the full price of the course. And that's not for very much longer.
Wow. Well, that sounds like something we all need to take advantage of as well. There is so much in there. And I love the fact that you can grab these resources when necessary or when you have time. I could see that would be a valuable tool for not just managers, but entrepreneurs, anyone who is maybe stuck or who wants inspiration. It doesn't mean that you have to, you're in a position where you're solving a problem. A lot of times I love to go and refer to these things when I'm looking for inspiration, because I'll hear something or I'll learn something and I'll go, wow, that's exactly what I was looking for. Or let me apply that. Yeah. So it becomes like a little personal library, a reference
and
library.
Thanks for pointing out. Yeah, and thanks for pointing out that it's not just managers. When I say managers, I'm also including entrepreneurs because they are managing a business. So Thanks for helping to make that distinction.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you're the leader, you're the team, you're at the beginning, you're the every person. But yes, inspiration is something that we all need, and ideas and creativity especially. So that sounds like, and again, we'll have all that information there for us, and be sure, and if you're interested, to take advantage, like Aaliyah said, because it's a great price right now while it's in beta. Well, tell us about your free offer, What's Stifling Creativity Guide, and the benefits that it offers to teams and organizations.
Yeah. Well, I wanted your viewers and participants to take something away from this conversation. So I put this together, and it's I put it together to help people see where their blind spots are, or help other people in their business or other people that they know that are running businesses to see where their blind spots are. So it's mainly about the main culprits of why your team isn't coming up with fresh ideas. There are like four different key points on that. It provides an introduction to light bulb thinking, which is my system for thinking creatively. And it also gives a hint of what the future could look like after implementing light bulb thinking.
Well, that sounds like a valuable tool. And I can't imagine that people wouldn't want to take advantage of that. Is that something, do you get it in a PDF form or do you actually get the actual copies? I'm just curious.
It's PDF, so I believe you're going to provide a link for people to get their copy, and then it's all theirs.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have all that information. So make a mental note, everyone. There's some fabulous resources here. So, Aaliyah, tell us what excites you about the future right now in your life.
Yeah, I'm more focused on other people just naturally. So the thing that is exciting me is about finding other gaps that I can fill to make fast learning available to people who are running businesses or managing, uh, and to develop their skills a lot faster. So, light bulb moments is an example of that. I'm also in the process of putting some other courses together that are going to be launching later this year for doing that. And a lot of my focus is on younger generations because that's where the work is going to be taking place. It's on their shoulders that all of this is landing. So, however I can help with that, I'm doing that as well.
Wonderful. Yes, I could see that. We definitely need to get all of this information to the upcoming generation because they are in dire need. And like you said earlier on, it's not something that's available readily in universities or even business schools. Certain ones, yes, but not something that's normal. And I think this creativity and thinking without the box even is going to be the norm rather than the exception moving forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, any last words you'd like to share with our audience?
One of my watch phrases, it's not a watchword, is life's an adventure, because that's the way my life has gone. And I've just so many times just done things where I've looked at it and I thought, my intuition tells me this could be really exciting or good for me, and I'm just going to do it. So I kind of look at this as change being something that brings growth. So if
Mhm.
life is an adventure, you're willing to just kind of open your arms to change, you might actually stumble into something better.
Oh yes, we don't. Our brains don't like change, but change is the pathway to growth. Because
Yes.
if not, then we're just repeating everything from the past, and that's not growing. That's just staying stagnant. So absolutely, life is an adventure, and there is perspective in that, definitely, because how we see things and how we perceive things creates our state of mind. There's no question about that. Well, because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, Aaliyah, I have one last question,
Yes.
and that is, if your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
No fear.
Wow. Perfect. The absolute perfect title. And that was fast. I love it. I love it. No fear. Oh my gosh. And then that could lead on to all kinds of things. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you as well, Aaliyah, for joining us here today. Be sure to check out Aaliyah's website at thepotentialcenter.com and schedule a free 30-minute strategy session with her. And for all of Aaliyah's contact information and social media links, go to the contact pages on the Epic Vision Zone bio page. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. And don't forget to reach out to me at janeapplegath.com, where you can access your free download, The Keys to Your Dreams. I look forward to connecting with you. And this has been the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.